Everyone, welcome back to Mark Loeffler Experience. We're up to good 850 subscribers, everyone. Thanks, everyone who's just recently subscribed. My good friend Donal from Toronto, finally. I don't understand what took you so long. Well, and yet, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today's topic is a little apropos. We're going to talk about how to win in a bidding war, or how not to be disappointed in a bidding war, I guess would be a different thing, because I know people get frustrated. And I know that it can be, obviously, I mean, you put work, you put time in, you do a whole bunch of stuff, and then you don't get a property, and it can be frustrating. And I mean, this is going on. I got to be honest, I don't remember the last time I bought a property that wasn't in a bidding war. I think every apartment building I've bought in the last 10 years, there has been another offer on, or, you know, I'm, or, you know, there'd been offers on it and now I'm negotiating directly. Yet it's still, or they were negotiating with me because they knew I would give them the best terms and what they needed. How does Mark win in a bidding war? And this is a little, this came up today because we have a listing that we put up, our real estate team here, Mark Loeffler Real Estate Team, and we had 160 showings in 5 days. And you got to remember, it's a tenanted property, so we only had 3 hours a day booked during weekdays and 5 hours on weekends for showings. So a total of 16 hours, sorry, 19 hours. And we had 160 showings during that time. So it was a bit bedlam. And, you know, we have 8 offers right now. It's, you know, by the time the video comes out, we'll be looking at offers. And yet we have 8 offers. Obviously, it's going to go over asking. And that's pretty normal nowadays. Most markets, it's pretty normal that if it's priced aggressively, it's going to go over asking. And people always ask me, so, okay, what's it going to take? What do we need to do? So, first off, okay, you can call the seller's agent. At most times, I don't think that's really going to work for you. Um, you know, I mean, sure, maybe they'll say, hey, you got to be at this price, and yet they're working for their seller. That their job, their number one job, is to get the seller the money, the terms, closing date, whatnot that they want. Again, how do we win? So number one is, as a real estate agent, or I would hire a real estate agent to do comparables for me. So I would get my comparables. So if they're working for me, they're putting my offer, they're going to do the comparables for me no matter what. So I'm going to look and see what things have sold for in that area, on that street, that are going to be similar properties within the same time frame. So this one that we have, you know, one sold at the beginning of March. We know the market's up from there, and yet it was the exact same house, just worse condition. So you can kind of judge based on that and say, okay, here's kind of some pricing that this would have been in March. And then you can say, well, over that period of time, the property has gone up 5%. So we can tack that on. And then it comes down to sometimes how frustrated you are in the market to how much you're willing to overpay. This happens to me all the time where I'm like, man, I'm overpaying for this. I always feel like I'm overpaying. And it might be just my German blood, yet I always feel like I'm overpaying for properties that I'm buying. And yet my mantra, and you've heard me say this before, is, yeah, I know I'm overpaying today, yet in 5 years I'll look like a genius. Now this works obviously because I'm buying good cash flowing properties that have good upside. So I mean, if that's what you're doing, or if you're buying turnkey properties, and if it decent, like decent cash flow. I mean, we went through that single family home in Hamilton that was basically a break even cash flow. And, you know, at the end of the day, if I'm just making break even cash flow and I buy 5 of them, I digress. Winning a multiple offer situation. So go in, you figure out your price. And I always say, when people ask me what price they should put in, they tell me, okay, we want to put in 500. Great. Let me ask you, if you lost this at 520, would you be upset? Yes, no? Okay. So if the answer is yes, I'd be upset. Great. We should be at 520. If you lost this at 540, would you be upset? Yes, no. Right? And I would probably try to get it down to the thousands of dollar that if you lost this property that you wouldn't be upset. That would be my goal. So, okay, now they say, no, we wouldn't be upset if it sold for 540. We think that's ridiculous. If it goes for that, God bless them. Good on them. Great. So we know 520 is, so what about 530? Would you be upset if it sold for 530? Yes, no. If it was yes, great, go down. If it's no, I'd go up. And I would get it to within $1,000, and that's where I'd put my number. And I said, guys, I'd say, give it your best shot. Never expect anybody to come back. Best shot right off the beginning. If it's good enough, just get it done. I mean, I've seen scenarios where there's been a wide gap where it was, I mean, in Ontario, obviously the offers aren't disclosed, and sometimes there's a wide gap, yet in 5 years, all of those people have looked like a genius. Now, obviously the market's making us all smart right now. And I mean, we tell from my market crash video that there's some people out there that think that the market's going to crash and going to crater. I mean, personally, I'm obviously putting my money where my mouth is. I'm in the stock market. I'm buying properties still. I'm renovating properties. I might be buying a vacation property to rent out. If I get that one tomorrow, we'll do a nice video on that. Probably next week. I might just do a video on it anyways and run the numbers and just show you some dynamics behind that. I mean, there's no yurt involved. I wish there was a yurt involved. That'd be cool, but there's no yurt involved. Okay. We've talked price. So I determined the price. The clients, they're not going to be angry if they win at. They're not going to be angry if they lose at. Number two is I'm always talking to the other agent or the seller about what terms and conditions that they're looking for on the property. I'm trying to make this as compatible to them as can be. If it's tenanted property, I'm probably assuming all the tenants. It's just easy. And now in other jurisdictions, this is Ontario I'm talking about, in other jurisdictions it may be easier to get evictions on closing, that type of stuff. Ontario is not that easy. You can only evict for a couple certain things. So I just say, I want this to be as easy as possible for you. Therefore, I will assume your tenants. And then I will work to get them out after. Because, again, the easier I can make it on them, the better. Closing date. What closing date do you want? Conditions. It may shock some of you people, yet I typically have conditions when I buy my properties, yet I'm buying larger properties. I know if it's a good enough deal, like I bought a property sight unseen where I had 5 business days for a walkthrough of all units. That was my only condition. No financing, no inspection. They did have an environmental report already for me, so I was pretty good. And I knew I was going to take my contractor through on the walkthrough of all units. And you know, I've done that twice actually. That's helped me win in bidding wars. And I was able to close quick because I had the financing and everything lined up. I could close almost within a month, which is kind of hard to do when you're buying commercial properties. But even smaller properties, if it's rougher, I would definitely walk through before offer date with a contractor. You can take an inspector through to check the vitals of the house. Like they can come do a quick 1 hour showing, and they can, you know, check the furnace, check all the major repair stuff like roof, windows, and just make you feel comfortable. And then the second thing is obviously financing. If you don't need to have a financing clause or any other clause, it's going to put you ahead. You'd be able to buy it cheaper, typically, if you don't have any clauses in than if you have a bunch of clauses. So if you're firm is what we call it. It's making it as easy as possible for the seller. All right. So everyone, I mean, it just is, this is a little short video. It doesn't have to be long. Um, do your homework before. Know, I mean, that's obvious number three, but you should do this before. Know your homework before you're even going to see properties. You know it's going to be a tight buyer's market. There's very limited inventory in a lot of markets right now. Um, so if you're looking to buy right now, if you're looking to invest, if you're doing that stuff, you know that it's going to be tight, and a lot of times you're not going to be able to have conditions, but you have to do your homework. So you have to know your financing. You got to know that you're good. If you're not comfortable walking through the home or a property without an inspection, then definitely get a pre-inspection. Go and inspect the property before you ever put an offer on it. I myself have done lots of renovations, so I'm comfortable not doing that. Other ways, obviously, to go find the property. I mean, we had Matt McKeever on, and he's talking about wholesaling. Yet even then, these guys put it up everywhere for people to buy. They basically buy the property and then assign it, and you could be in a bidding war with them too. Yet the bigger you get, like when you get into the apartment building space, it's not all about it's a lot of its reputation as well. They want to know that you can close. They don't want to know that you're going to tie up their property for a month, 2, 3 months, and then not close on it. They want to know that you're reputable, you're going to close, you're going to do everything you can to close on that property. That's why people come to me with off-market deals, is because they know me and people who I work with, what we close. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching this video. If you haven't yet, please subscribe, smash the like button. It really does help out the channel. And comment down below, are you buying right now? Are you selling right now? How many offers have you put in before you bought a house? All right, guys, catch you in the next one. Happy Monday. Talk to you soon.